Today I'm going to be comparing my 2020 Tesla Model Y to this 2023 Rivian R1T. I own both of these, and there's some differences between them that you should know about. Now, this is not a comparison of the vehicles side by side. It's how they perform in terms of the driving dynamics and the software within the cars. And I'm also going to talk about some features that the Rivian has, the Tesla doesn't, Tesla has that Rivian doesn't, because these cars really aren't comparable in a lot of ways, but the drivetrain in them is really the main difference. The other thing I'd like to talk about, first we'll just start out on the exterior. This has a powered frunk. There is no Tesla that from the factory has a powered frunk, and this has it both up and down. So that's a really nice feature that it has. You can control it from the app. So both of these have good apps. The Tesla app is significantly better just because they've had more time to develop it. Max charging speed on this is 215 kilowatts. Max charging speed on this is 250 kilowatts. This has a 135 kilowatt hour battery pack. This has a 74 kilowatt hour battery pack. It's a 2020 long range. They moved it up to about 80 in the 2021 and later models. The main difference in how do these drive and what's the difference between the two of these, really the thing that gets me the most is when you're sitting in the Rivian, you put it into gear here. Okay, so we're in gear. When I go ahead and put the car in drive, and then I go ahead and tap the pedal. So I'm tapping the pedal right now, nothing, then it starts to move. There's just a little bit more precision in any Tesla I've driven. The driving experience is seamless. It's really smooth. It accelerates perfectly. Exactly what you tell the accelerator to do, it does. The other thing with this is I'm currently in all-purpose mode. So in all-purpose mode, the car will change from all-wheel drive to front-wheel drive. And what you will notice is the motor temperature. So the front motor is at 105 degrees, the rear motor is at 78. That just tells me that the front motor is being used more. Now, if you go into performance mode here, the air suspension drops, so it's dropping right now, and it locks it permanently in all-wheel drive. The other thing that's great about this is it does have an air suspension. Now, the Model S and X also have air suspensions, but what I like about this is it really gives you some customization based on the drive mode you're in. Makes the car look better. You can really lower it. And then the sport mode, the performance mode, it takes it from 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds. So I really enjoy that as well. The other thing is the infotainment. So on the Rivian, there really is no home screen like there is on the Tesla. So if you swipe up here, you have these apps that pop up so you can look at various things. So if we click on energy here, it shows you your range. This is a cool screen. So currently I have 256 miles of range, full charge 333, and then it changes based on the drive mode you're in. So if we go into sport, we have significantly less range because it's in all-wheel drive all the time. And then you can change your power outlets and everything like that. So I actually think the software in the Rivian is pretty good. It's just different than the Model Y. Let's jump over to the Model Y and check that out. Now in the Model Y, you have this as your home screen here. So you always have your car over here, and then with options to press buttons to open the frunk, to open the charge port, to open the trunk, all of that stuff. This is your home screen, as well as being able to swipe here and toggle through different settings. So you have that as well. Then if you want to go deeper into the settings, you just click the car right here, and you're able to go into all of these different settings and really set the car up for exactly how you want it to be. In terms of how the vehicles drive, and we are going to drive both of them, the Tesla is just more precise. They both have their own proprietary charging network, and Rivian is going to have access to Tesla's charging network here soon, and it actually currently works. I've already taken it to a Magic Dock charger. Works. I got it up to the max speed that they allow of 150 kilowatts, and then I took it to a Rivian charger, and that works seamlessly and perfectly, where you just pull the charger off the hook, plug it into your car, and it starts to work. Rivian is doing the things that Tesla has done really well for many years. They're a more focused on outdoor activity brand. So I think they're doing a really nice job of differentiating themselves while picking up on what Tesla does that's very intuitive and makes your life easier when owning one of these vehicles. Just the simple fact of getting in, foot on the brake, there's no start button in the car, you put it into gear and you're on your way. The thing about with the Tesla is I can just be so much more precise on and off the throttle, especially at low speeds. Like when I'm backing into my garage in the Rivian, it's very like, okay, I'm hitting the pedal, it's not going, when is it gonna go? So you're kind of guessing there, and that's something that they need to improve on. They did just have a software update that came out that said they addressed the throttle response at low speeds in reverse, I think it was. So they are having meaningful software updates come out, but it's still, I didn't feel that much of a difference. It's still something that I think could be tuned a little bit better, and I'm sure it will be over time, but for now, that's where it is. Now, the other thing we need to talk about is the Model Y as a whole. When I bought mine back in 2020, this whole thing cost $48,000. At one point, these got up to $65,000. In my opinion, that's too much. That's a little too expensive, because while it's an excellent car, to me at $48,000, and I think they start at $42,000 for the standard range, it's a no-brainer because you get great acceleration, great technology, tons of space with the frunk sub-compartment in the rear. If you fold the seats down, there's an insane amount of room. It's an incredible package, and I would say if you own two vehicles and you're looking to replace one of those, or you're looking to add a vehicle, I would look to add a Tesla, whatever, and you could even get used ones under $20,000 right now, and the batteries on them are warranted 8 years, 100,000 miles for the standard range, and 120,000 miles for the long range models and performance models. So the main worry that you're going to have by buying an electric vehicle, whatever it is, in the aftermarket is the battery failing, and just check the warranty on that. If the warranty's covered, there's really not much else that can go wrong. It's going to be little weird things here and there, but I think you should add one of these just to try it out, because you can get them for very cheap. I think you'll see how cheap they are to run and how ergonomic they are and useful. I look at my Tesla Model Y as like a utility vehicle. You know, I do have paint protection film, all of it, so that kind of negates what I'm about to say, but like, I don't worry about if it's going to get a ding or a scratch or whatever. You know, I always hand wash my cars and things like that, but the seats are very durable. I have the white seats. Everyone said, oh, the white seats, they're a mess, whatever. I just let them get messed up, and then I use the Hydrosilex interior cleaner and I get them cleaned up, and I've never had anything that has stained them or anything like that. So overall, the utility of the Model Y has been excellent, and it really punches up above its weight class. You know, it can compete with a BMW X5 in a lot of ways. In some ways, it has more storage than that. It's not as luxurious, but it costs way less to run. The long range model is quicker than most BMW X5 models. I just think it's a really impressive vehicle, but Tesla's been doing it longer. They have the best drivetrain available. They can be really precise, and that's what I like about it. Now, another thing I'd like to talk about is in the, the trunk here. So Rivian has these features like the air compressor here, right? So what you can do is you can hit this plus sign and you can set the PSI. So I did that, and I was pumping up the tires, which is very useful, and I thought it said set PSI, okay, 48. So set it and forget it technology, right? I hooked the compressor up, let it run, get back in the car, check the air pressure on the tires. One of them was at 59 PSI. Pretty sure it was close to exploding. So things like that, while it is a cool feature, it says set, it didn't work. There's just various things around the car that could be a little tighter and almost seem like afterthoughts. Another thing, like in terms of build quality, you can see right here, there's like this gap with the bumper. Again, not a huge issue. It's a minor thing. I really wouldn't complain about that. I think their paint quality is good. The overall fit and finish is very good. There's some rattles inside the car that are absolutely atrocious. I get nauseous when they start to go. If we open up the gear tunnel here, okay, you see this piece right here. Like, it's just hanging half open. Look at this gap here. Like, if I press it down, it just pops open. So when you hit this, that's how it opens up. It just seems like it was an afterthought in the fit and finish department. I feel like there's a better way to, I don't know, it's just kind of hanging open. So there's little things like that around the vehicle in terms of build quality that this costs $90,000. The R1T starts at $73,000. You would think that they would have that a little bit tighter, but I understand. I think what a lot of these EV companies especially are realizing is it's very hard to build a vehicle. And while a company like Ford may not have the EV battery technology up to par with these two, they build a tighter car. It overall feels more solid. So let's jump in the Rivian, take that for a drive, and talk about how that feels. All right, so the other thing that Tesla does really well is they have their Sentry mode. So it's a security system that you can remotely access to view the cameras around your car. If something happens, it records it. It's a dash cam, so if something happens in front of you, an accident, you can hit it, record it, whatever. It's very useful. So Rivian has their own thing. It's called Gear Guard. I bought this on Amazon. I'll have this linked in the description, but basically it's 256 gigabyte drive. That way I'm able to save footage to it. So It plugs right into the USB-C outlet down here. And then if I just go to set up drive cam, it says connecting, format device. And that's kind of a cool feature there. It says to help capture the moment, drive cam records 15 seconds of action before you tap to save a video. All right, cool. So you can start capturing clips. This guy right here, I don't know what he's all about, but that seems to be their mascot. Oh, tap here to save clips. Interesting. Got it. So yeah, you do have that ability in here. That's another great feature that a lot of other EV manufacturers are just not taking advantage of, and that Tesla does really well. And once you own a Tesla, you become spoiled and really used to these things that are actually useful. It's not just a gimmick. It's like, oh yeah, it has cameras and you never use them. I use them all the time. I've seen, I saw a drunk driver take out 2 telephone poles and swerve across a bunch of lanes. I've just seen all kinds of stuff that can actually be useful. My friend actually got in an accident in his Tesla, and the driver who hit him switched seats with the other driver because one didn't have a driver's license. So there's all kinds of useful situations that, again, that's something you're really going to like. And overall, I think the Rivian software is good. It's just different because I'm like, okay, where's my home screen? Now I'm on this screen and I'm locked in here. So just some other differences, but let's take it on a drive. Again, just tap the gear shift, put it in gear. Makes a little bit of a backup noise, which Teslas do too. Mine 2020 does not, is what it is. Driving along here, you can kind of hear it disengaging and re-engaging as far as the drivetrain goes. Kind of interesting. That's not that big of a deal. What's more of a, what I think is more of a problem with the Rivian is it does have an air suspension, so it's smooth. But when you go over certain bumps, it unsettles the suspension and feels very disconnected. It feels cheap up through the steering wheel, the vibrations you get. Also, I have a rattle here. Here, we'll hit a bump here. We're gonna go over some railroads so you'll be able to hear it. It just seems like, I think this is loose. And I've also heard the subwoofer in the back have an awful rattle. And I read online, lots of other people have had that same issue. Again, not the biggest deal in the world, but just minor things like that that seem to be consistent across other Rivians. Doesn't really affect the functionality of the car, it's been fine. You can also see ride height lowers at 45 miles per hour because I'm currently in ride height high. So once I cross 45, the car drops back down into normal mode. Overall, driving it, you get used to the pedal not being as precise, and it's really nice to be in. Great visibility. You still have a panoramic roof, but it actually blocks out a lot of the heat, so I think that's been good. But overall, I think the steering wheel needs to be a more luxurious wheel, and they need to also tune up just how the suspension feels in the NVH that comes up through the steering wheel. It's just not as precise or as nice as it should be, because this is a luxury light duty truck, I think is technically what it's called. So they just have some tuning to do, but overall, I'm very impressed with the Rivian package, and I chose it. This is not a press car or anything like that. The acceleration is great. The range is great. The efficiency is good for a truck. There's a decent amount of aftermarket accessories. I really enjoy driving the truck. Here's the thing is I would have never chose to own a truck. I have no interest in owning an F-150 like that right there. But Rivian created something for me that was interesting. They have their own charging network. They will have access to Teslas soon. And I don't feel as wasteful driving around in this. If I'm taking a 10-minute trip, that's not like using a bunch of fuel and being really inefficient. I'm just in an electric vehicle that you plug in at home and charge up for 14 cents per kilowatt hour where I live. So yeah, I just, there's part of that to me too. I think the efficiency of vehicles has always been important to me. I've owned BMW M2, Focus ST, and those cars, for being performance models, are still fairly efficient. That's always something that like kind of sat in the back of my head. I kind of want the whole package. And the fact that this is not only efficient, it's very quick. We are going to take it to the canyons and put it in performance mode and show you how well it handles. But overall, I just think Rivian did a great job as far as this being their first vehicle and implementing things that the leader Tesla has done really well into theirs with their own twist. I guess another thing to talk about is engaging and disengaging their cruise control. A single tap is adaptive cruise, and then double tap is their driver assist feature. So basically it's the equivalent of autopilot. Another Rivian owner told me their driver assist is kind of like Tesla 2017, 2018, 2019 range. I think it's very good. I mean, it works perfectly. And I actually have a little bit more confidence in it. There's not really any phantom braking that I've dealt with. But again, I only have 1,000 miles on the vehicle, so I haven't had it that long. So it's nice that it has that feature. And again, it's implemented just like Tesla's and seems to work flawlessly. Okay, so in the Tesla, immediately when you get in, what you notice is the throttle is just more linear. It's sharper, kind of easier. Even putting it in gear, this is just a little bit smoother. Everything about the electric driving experience in this is just a hair better. The Rivian is very good. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying a lot of people have said in the comments, hey, how does it compare to own one over the other? Hey, I'm considering upgrading my Model Y to a Rivian. So I'm just trying to explain these differences to you. That way, when you go into your test drive, you have things to look for and think about. Because a lot of times you're enamored by, oh, the screen, it's different, the chair, the seats, whatever, and then you forget about the things that are important. Now, as far as the seats go, when I had Armando with me, we were testing my Rivian against his Model X Plaid. The seats are softer in Teslas. The Rivian seats are firmer. To me, not that big of a deal. I think the seats are fine in both cars. I don't mind the Rivian seats, they're different. These seats are also very comfortable. These seats are very durable. This car has 70,000 miles on it and they look basically brand new. They don't break down like other traditional leather seats do in Mercedes or BMW or something like that. So I think the longevity and durability of these are great. The other thing is regenerative braking. So you can adjust the regenerative braking in mine and in the Rivian from low to high. I recommend on the Rivian going into, oh, that dude used to work with me. He's a fraud. He took a hooker to the ESPYs on the company's dime. Yeah, he was a manager. Wow, what a piece of work. Went to Mexico with him. Anyways, that just took a turn. But yeah, the driving, as far as around city driving and regenerative braking, it can be kind of shocking at first if you've never driven a Tesla. But this is just so smooth and effortless. I recommend going into high regenerative braking mode in your Rivian. I think the car drives a little bit better that way, and then you're literally never using the brakes, so it's just one less wear and tear item. They also have this, you got this blind spot detection here in the Tesla, which is nice. This did not come with my car new. All the new Teslas get it, but with a software update, they were able to do that. They were also able to make the camera quality better, so they have better colors. Still not as good as the hardware for vehicles, but you're able to move that around. The other thing that this does is if you tap your turn signal, it will not turn off until you've made your turn. Can't run these pedestrians over. Go ahead, pedestrians. So there's just things that this does that I think Rivian eventually will implement through software. But for right now, I mean, the driving of the Tesla, I've not driven something that drives better in terms of an electric drivetrain. So that's the difference. I hope that helps you out. Now, if you want to see me do a road trip across the country in this Tesla Model Y, click this video right here. That will be helpful to you to see how charging works, how much extra time it adds. And I think you'll enjoy the entertainment in the video.